Today we are taking the stereo out of a 1997 Honda CR-V. This looks like it should be a very simple removal. Would pry the panel off from around the stereo and remove the stereo. However, this one's a little more difficult, and we're going to get this started. On the driver's side here, we're going to take the bottom panel off. There is two screws here, one on the bottom left and one on the bottom on the right. Now that'll allow us to grasp this bottom panel and pull it forward from the dash, releasing the clips along the top. There we go, start at the right, it releases. There we go. Now that releases it. That brings the panel down. Alright, we've set the panel that came off underneath the steering column to the side. Next we're going to work on this very bottom panel at the center console. There's a clip at the edge here. And we're going to take our little pry bar and pull on the back of the panel. This helps pull the clip out and get you under it and pull this clip out. We're going to repeat the same process over here on the right side. Pull this panel a little bit forward, get the pry bar under it, and pry together, and it removes the plastic clip. Next we're going to grasp both sides and pull forward. This will release two panel clips across the front of the panel, and that will release that out of the way. Next, here at the bottom of the center console, we're going to open the bottom panel and take our Phillips screwdriver and remove several screws here. One on the bottom right of this inner pocket panel. And one above it. Then there are two across the top of this panel we're also going to remove. And two across the left side of this panel. Okay, now that we have all the screws removed, now we're going to close the pocket up, and there are four screws along the bottom here. One here on the right is on the outside panel. The one on the outside left also is the side panel here. And then there are two below the pocket assembly we just removed all the screws from. last one here on the bottom on the right. Now we're going to remove the pocket assembly here, pull it forward with the drink holder, and this will give us access to all the old stuff that's shoved up behind the dash. And we're going to set this to the floor here and move on. Next we're going to move over to the glove box side. We're going to open the glove box and we're going to put its contents here on the floor of the vehicle. This will give us access to the internal sides of the glove box, and you can, from the outside, push this little panel in. It looks like it has a tongue on it to grasp. Pull that back, push the glove box closed a bit. That'll allow you to remove this piece that sits in the side. This is the restraint for the side of the glove box. We're going to repeat the same for the opposite side. Push this in, pull this little tab, push the glove box in, wiggle this tool out. Now this allows us to drop the glove box down and access to a couple more screws for this lower dash panel. There's one here on the right of the center console, left of the glove box opening here. And we're going to remove that screw, and there's one up here at the top as well. And we're going to remove that screw. Next we're going to move back to the center console. We have the glove box all disassembled on that side, the lower side disassembled in the very bottom of the center console. I'm going to remove the ashtray. There are two screws in the top of the ashtray assembly here. And we're going to remove the one on the right with our 90-degree screwdriver here. And we're going to remove one here up on the left as well. And at the very back of this ashtray tray assembly is another screw we're going to remove. Rear screw and remove the tray out of the ashtray assembly. The bulb that clicks in here will stand here. Usually gets disconnected when removing it. Now we're going to get back to this allows a little play in the front, removing this with its longer screws here in the front. So this allows us to grasp the side panel and pull that down from the edge of the car. We're going to do the same for the right side here. Pull it away from the edge of the car a little bit and then forward and down. This will allow us to get in behind the panel and disconnect the 12-volt power outlet and another connector that goes to the cigarette lighter, or excuse me, the ashtray light. These connectors have triggers on them, and usually what happens is you push the trigger down, it releases the lock. Now this has gotten us a step further. This now exposes an 8mm screw with a Phillips head here that we're going to remove. That's a little silver one. We're going to do the same for the opposite side. And we're going to remove this screw on the left side. Now I believe there's 2 clips here and 1 on each side that hold this panel in, along with the several at the bottom here. We're going to grasp this panel and pull it forward, and also from underneath push forward. There we go. This releases the whole panel just to give us a tiny bit of room. I can see that there are connectors to the AC controls that is holding this in place. So I'm going to reach under. The trigger is on the bottom of this connector, so I can push that in and wiggle that connector loose. Same with the second connector here at the AC controls, and that releases the antenna. Or excuse me, the 2 connectors to the AC control. Now I can reach up on the back of the stereo. The trigger's on the top of the main connector, and I reach up and release that one. Also, this vehicle has the changer that's underneath the passenger seat, and that has a connector here on the back that I'm going to wiggle loose. And the remaining antenna connector. Now all these connectors here are keyed, different colors, different configurations, so they only go back to 1 slot. The antenna, which was this jack, we just removed from the jack. The main connector had the trigger on the top, which we pushed down and released out of the back. And we also had the cable for the CD changer that went here, that's under the driver's seat here. Now we've removed the entire front dash assembly. And what there is 2 screws here on the right side of the car stereo, and then there are 2 screws here at the left side of the car stereo. We're going to remove these screws. I forgot how fun this was.
Shall I ask? What year is this car?
97. Now that we remove the screws from the brackets from each side, if this is a single DIN with a pocket, it can be pushed right out of the front. If it is a double DIN stereo, you can push it right out of the front. This is how you remove a stereo from a 1997 Honda CR-V. Hope it's been helpful. Thank you.